The year of the trade continues. TJ Hockenson is now going to the Minnesota Vikings. So, a lot to talk about. First, let's just talk about the compensation itself. What is the trade? So, the Lions get rid of TJ Hockenson and they get back a second round pick and a third round pick. That's in 2024. And then also, what's interesting is that the Vikings are getting back multiple fourth round picks of their own. One of them is a conditional fourth round pick, so that's worth noting. But this is a steal from Minnesota's perspective, I think. At least a very good trade. And I might even sit here and say this could put the Vikings, who I had as kind of a, sort of a playoff team who maybe could be a dark horse, this might just put them straight up in Super Bowl contenders. So listen, this might feel like I'm overrating Hockenson a little bit. TJ Hockenson is a good player. He was drafted 8th overall, of course, back a few years back. That was in the Matt Patricia era. He is currently in his 4th season. And, you look at his yardage totals. He had, his first year, he had that one crazy game in the beginning of his to start his career, and then since then didn't do a ton. Then you had over 700 yards in 2020. He then dropped to 583 yards in 2021. Again, only played 12 games. And now he has just under 400 yards in 7 games. He's been a consistent, good receiving tight end throughout his career. And, he's not someone who can't block either. He can block all right as well. He's definitely more of a receiving tight end. That's just what he is. But he's a really valuable asset. And I think the reason why the Vikings are doing this and why it makes sense for the Vikings to do this, and I'll get to the Lions' perspective in a second, is you're just going out and getting a player who can be that third option. That's kind of one of the things we've talked about with the Vikings, I feel like, over the years, is they have 2 good receivers, right? You have Adam Thielen, you have Justin Jefferson. Those aren't 2 good receivers, those are 2 great receivers. That's a great 1-2 punch. Doesn't get a lot better than that in the NFL. Especially, Thielen's a great number 2. Justin Jefferson's one of the best receivers in football. But they've struggled a little bit kind of piecing the other spot there. Irv Smith Jr. has been all right. He's been fine. You have KJ Osborne. Again, you can piece some of this stuff, but they've been trying Jalen Reagor at times. They've been trying to get that third option going. So going out and just saying, let's trade for the third option, it's totally worth a second round pick. And this is I think, a great move. And I know that the Vikings are an analytically inclined team. And so to me, this feels like this is exactly what they're doing. Analytics suggest that having a third option is often, there's the old expression that I think is true. You're only as good as your third option sometimes, because you can double team 2 guys. You can't always double team 2 guys, obviously, but you can double team 2 guys if you want to. Can't double team 3 guys. So this could leave a lot of one-on-one matchups for Hockenson that he wasn't getting as many of in Detroit, and this should be a great situation for him and for the Vikings. Now, from the Lions' perspective, this is a bit odd. I would say I don't love it from the Lions' perspective. Listen, you're a rebuilding team, and you're trying to get better. I get that. So trading players who you're going to have to pay soon for draft capital, not the worst thing in the world. And I do get the logic behind it, because Hockenson is still on his rookie deal, and he's in his 4th season, meaning he does have a 5th-year option that has been picked up. So he's due about, the actual totals is his cap hit is just $6.5 million this year. It'll be $9.3 million in 2023 since he plays tight end. The 5th-year option, not that expensive. So he'll probably get more after that, but you're at least getting 2 years of Hockenson. Again, he's not making peanuts, right? But he's also not making a superstar ton of money. So, I think that this is definitely a very good move by the Vikings. But from the Lions' perspective, part of me feels like I feel like Hockenson's kind of got a piece you can build around a little bit. He's not a superstar tight end, right? Maybe he hasn't lived up to an 8th overall selection because he hasn't been Travis Kelce, okay? But he's been a Pro Bowl caliber tight end who's maybe struggled to stay healthy a little bit, but that's also being a tight end. It's a hard position to stay healthy. I mean, I don't know. When I first found out about this, I was thinking at least a 1st-round pick was going the other way. So then when it was a 2nd and a 4th, I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. But then I realized, the 2 4th-rounders going back makes it, so it's actually a little bit less than a 2nd-rounder, which is, because again, the Lions Lions are going to have better a higher fourth round pick than the Vikings are. So that's another thing worth noting. I mean, this just feels like a massive steal from the Vikings perspective. Do I think that this turns the Vikings into Super Bowl contenders? Kind of. Yeah, I do. I really do. I think that this is a Vikings team that can absolutely go on and win a Super Bowl now. Again, part of it is the NFC is weak, right? That's a notable thing you have to bring up. And that's why I think we're seeing so many of these NFC teams kind of trying to buy at the deadline, which is, again, I love buying at the deadline. I just love this mindset of teams doing this. And to me, this is the first one that I've really seen that I feel like is a notable one. The Roquan Smith is interesting, but Roquan Smith has had his ups and downs. Robert Quinn hasn't played great this season. Hockenson's playing good this season. This is the first time we're seeing this. And again, he's young. He's in his 4th year as a pro. This is a massive win for Hockenson. I feel like he gets to go to a contending team, and it's a massive win for the Vikings, who, like I said, I mean, I just feel like the way that they use Jefferson in all these unique ways, the way that they use, Adam Thielen can win on the outside. You have 2 guys who can consistently win on the outside. Well, what does that mean? You have to stay deep. Over the middle is now going to have these gaps that Hockenson can really thrive in, probably. So this should be it's a great trade. I mean, that's just really the way I view it. It's a great trade. The Vikings are certainly a team that, are they? I mean, they're probably going to win the division. Almost certainly they're going to win the division. The division's been very weak this year, with the Packers kind of falling out of it. So you have that going for you. Your defense has been a bit up and down, but it's been playing better as of late, especially. And kind of one of their biggest weaknesses, I thought, was a third option. Again, they're good at passing the football, but to win a Super Bowl, you often have to be great at passing the football, and this is a way they can do it. So where do I put them now in my rankings might be an interesting question. I still have them below the Eagles. I think the Eagles are the only team that I still have as like in that true contender tier of this is the team that really has no issues. But to me, the Vikings there's no clear number 2 that's above the Vikings. The Vikings can definitely hang with any other team in the NFC, and they certainly could hang with the Eagles as well. I don't think that's out of the question. So, I mean, yeah, this is going to be a very fascinating move. Lions, again, feels like kind of one of the few things you had going for you was some of the stars on offense. Getting rid of one of those stars for a second-round pick, for less than a second-round pick, and probably not a high second-round pick, given the Vikings' record. It's not even a top 50 pick. I mean, that's crazy to think about. They're probably not even giving up a top 50 pick, and the Vikings are getting extra value on top of that for a good player who's still cheap and under contract for 2 years, and that is young, and you can control it. And, honestly, the franchise tag for a tight end, you could franchise tag him a couple of times if you want to. Insane steal by the Vikings is what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.